All right, so we are going to start it. JB, everyone. Thank you very much for taking time to join us today. My name is Vijay Puli. I'm the founder and executive director of Sadan, Canada. I'm also one of the hosts for this event today. Vaishali?
Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya. I'm Vaishali Dufari from Ambedkar Mission, Toronto. We welcome you all for joining this event. Hope you all will have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Now I'm going to request Richard Dupare for land acknowledgement. Richard, please.
While we meet today on a virtual platform, we would like to acknowledge the Algonquin Nation, whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. Together, please consider how we are each and can each in our own way try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration.
Thank you, Richa. We have 4 excellent speakers today, namely Sailesh Narwade, Nagesh Wahurwag, Dr. Arshad Kakade, and Professor Chennaya Jangam as our chief guest. So we are going to have some ground rules today in the event. The session to take about like 1 hour 45 minutes. All the audience are muted during the presentation. We believe in mutual respect, so any kind of abuse or inappropriate behavior is not tolerated in the event. Such individual is immediately removed from the event. There is 30 minutes question and answer period at the end of the session, so that audience are requested to ask any questions either in chat or directly. So just I want to give a little bit about the movies we are having the session today. We all know that how entertainment the movies are for everyone. The movies are deeply connected with the people's lives in India, right? So the Indian film industry is one of the largest industry in the world that has ranked first in the world in terms of the annual film output with total gross of around $2.7 billion a year. So on the other hand, it also deeply impacts the people's lives, especially masses. If you look at the common man, he or she wakes up in the morning, goes to the work and do some labor work, and comes in the evening and eat something and go to the movies with the family. So many people and families I know, they used to see the movie like 2 or 3 times a week for their entertainment, because that is the only entertainment they have in India. If I comes to my personal experience, I also used to watch movies in my village from childhood. I used to watch them in touring talkies. I don't know how many people know about that. So sitting on the floor, that was I was grown up, right? So but somehow I was never connected to these stories of the movies, because they are not our stories. Our means like Dalit Adivasi Bahushan stories. They are not our movies. Look at any movie in India, starting from the regional movies to Bollywood movies. Almost every movie is directed by some dominant cast, Savan director. Stories written by them, produced by them, characters, even the roles played by them, right? So that is why we are here to talk about how the relationship between caste and the movies, how deeply they are integrated in an Indian film industry, right? So just I'm telling a little bit about that, and now I'm going to request our chief guest, Professor Chennaya Jangam. Chennaya Jangam is a associate professor in Department of History, Calton University, Ottawa. He holds, MA in History from the University of Hyderabad, MPhil in Modern Indian History from Jawaharlal Nehru University, and PhD from the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. Mr. Jangam was postdoctoral fellow at the International Center for Advanced Studies, New York University. His research focus is on the social and intellectual history of Dalits in modern South Asia. His first book, Dalits and the Making Modern India, was published by Oxford University Press in 2017. Jangam presents Dalit's perspective. We are happy to know that his translation book, Gabbilam, means bat, a Dalit epic poetry written by great Dalit poet in 1990s. His name is Gurram Joshua. The book was released recently. So I'm going to invite Professor Jangam Chennaya, please.
Thank you, brother Vijay, and also Jai Bhim to everyone. And thank you so much for this opportunity. More than what I say, I think it's important to listen to the filmmakers. And if some of you might not, नागेश भाई, हम हिंदी में बात करना क्या आपके लिए?
बिल्कुल, बहुत अच्छा लगेगा सर मुझे। नहीं, वैसे इंग्लिश बात कर सकते हैं। इंग्लिश आती है, पर समझ में आती है, बोलना नहीं आता। आप इंग्लिश में टॉक कर सकते हैं, मैं सुन सकता हूँ इंग्लिश में।
ओके,
आप इंग्लिश में बोलिए, मेरे लिए बाकी के भी लोग हैं, उनके लिए, उनको भी अच्छा लगेगा। मैं तो अकेला ही हूँ हिंदी वाला, फिर भी इंग्लिश में बात कीजिए सर, मैं सुन सकता हूँ। और थैंक यू सर।
या हम देख लेंगे, हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों बात करेंगे आपके लिए।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सर।
So I think listening to filmmakers and the directors is more important than what we say. And particularly, I will try to provide some context to what we are today, particularly why are we here in terms of Dalit film as a genre, and how it emerged, particularly in the context of Indian cinema. As we know, Indian cinema, as part of the development of colonial modernity, was a very elite enterprise. The early cinema and theater, and particularly based in Bombay and spread to again Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. And these are the centers from which the idea of film industry has emerged, and which has again very important colonial roots in terms of the British modernity, which the elites, caste Hindu elites, have entered into this film industry. And that's why what you see that the very idea of imagining film as a very important medium of expression in India is privilege of the upper caste, particularly the caste Hindus, and also, and in fact, more than caste Hindus, it was Parsis who first basically started this tradition, particularly in Bombay, Parsi theaters and Parsi films, and afterwards what you see that Hindu Muslim elites have become very important harbingers of film industry in India. And the post-independent India, that again because of the anti-colonial politics and also the idea of making of modern India as a nation, one of the important thing is that it reflected this spirit of nationalism as a very important way to express the film as a very important medium through which it tried to connect to the people. So in this context, what we see is that historically the film industry and the development of film as a very important medium has closely enmeshed in terms of colonial and also caste privilege, and also most importantly the way in which the nation has been imagined. So therefore the early films try to glorify both nation and also religion, and that's why the fault lines about Indian nationalism is that it is mostly imagined through the idea of Brahminical nationalism, Brahminical idea of India. So in this context, what you see is that these Brahminical perception of the world through which basically most of the films are viewed and also presented. One of the fault lines is that both in terms of gender inequality and also caste inequality and caste inclusion, and telling the stories of the oppressed caste stories, what you see is that though there were films which tried to project, like for example in Telugu we had very interesting movie called Malapalli. It's about untouchable Hamlet, in which a Brahmin nationalist who basically in 1936 influenced by the Gandhian nationalism tried to get he marries an untouchable girl or Dalit girl, and then what happens is that that leads to a major social uprising in villages, and Dalits gets boycotted and a lot of violence against them. So it reflected very interesting context in which there is this very interesting tension between the caste aspirations and also conservatism of the Brahminical caste. So in this context, what we see that if you look at the film industry, especially in the south, like in Chennai particularly, which used to be the center of most of the filmmaking in southern India, it used to be a prerogative of both Brahmins of Tamil, Telugu, and also Kannada Brahmins, who basically used to have most important, they are the one who used to had the complete control over filmmaking and also film productions. But one of the interesting irony in early film is that because caste Hindu women are not allowed to, act in public and show their faces, what had happened is that the early heroines in many films in South India used to be women from oppressed caste backgrounds. Particularly, we had this dancing communities and also people coming from Dalit backgrounds used to be very important figures. But eventually, what had happened is that as film industry became very profitable and also very important medium through which they tried to present, there was an appropriation and also replacement of Dalit figures in early film industry. That is a very important development which basically southern film industry has witnessed. But like in this context, what we see is that the development of film and also the nation making from 1947 to all the way to all the way to 2000s. One of the important thing is that though Dalit sometimes represented, but also most what you see is that as negative figures and also the negative way in which they're portrayed. So in this context, what you see is that there is a complete ignore the Dalit figure has been ignored or marginalized in the mainstream representation of Indian films. And in this context, what you see that because filmmaking is a very expensive affair, because both in terms of capital and also in terms of having technical know-how, it needs to be very skilled profession in which basically unless you have some sort of background, you cannot shine well. So in this context, what happened is that structural challenges also did not allow Dalits to enter and make name for themselves. So in this context, what you see that along with caste prejudice, the structural constraints also became very important impediment for Dalit representation in films. So in this context, what we see is that particularly my understanding of South Indian film, particularly Telugu film industry, what you say that as it became profitable industry and very important medium through which you influence the people, what had happened that the caste in this particularly land holding communities who used to be like agriculture, they started investing agriculture surplus in filmmaking industry. Particularly, you might be familiar Kammas in Telugu industry like N.T. Ramarao, or even now all the Telugu film stars are Kammas in Telugu. And heroines come from Bombay and North India and all this because of their fair skin, but all the heroes come from mostly from Kamma and also Kapu and also Raju backgrounds. So in this context, there is an interesting interconnection between caste and films in southern India. And with this, what had happened that the representation of dominant caste culture became a very important way in which they try to reproduce caste system and caste prejudice in film industry. And that's why what you see is that there is a natural tendency to project Brahmanism as the culture and Brahmanical way of understanding life as the norm in most of the films. So in this context, what happens is that Dalits never had an opportunity to represent themselves and also to portray the reality of Dalits. So in this context, what we see is that till 2000s, late into 2000s, one of the important things is that absence of Dalit figure. And that's why in the context of what you see is that after 2010, like Nagaraju Manjule, or even for that matter, Paranjit in particularly in the Tamil film industry, what they're trying to do is that their interventions, what had happened that opened up a new important space, particularly in terms of Dalit aesthetics as a very important representation, as a form of resistance and also form of representation of the voice and also lives of the oppressed groups. So in this context, what we see that as caste becomes very important discussion point, one of the important things, along with Dalit literature. For example, we know that in Marathi, Dalit Panthers movement had inaugurated a very important field in terms of Dalit literature and also Dalit voice. And literature and also theater, for example, Bombay theater, or even for that matter, you see that, political activism. So different forms in which Dalit intervention is making a difference in terms of, giving a voice to the Dalit lives and also Dalit representation. What you see is that I think Dalit film is going to be a very important defining phenomena in India, particularly because it's true representation. And second thing is that, caste problem, both in India and also in diaspora, is a very important problem, which needs to be acknowledged and also used as a very important way to challenge the Hindu Brahminical hegemony. Particularly, if you really want to challenge Hindutva and the politics of Hindutva, the only way you can challenge them is through the anti-caste narrative that punctures them. Otherwise, they try to either project Hindu-Muslim unity by the Gandhians, or otherwise Hindu-Muslim conflict by the Hindutva people to polarize people. So in this context, what you see is that the Dalit aesthetics and Dalit cinema, what it does is that it complicates the very idea of the society. It complicates the very idea of nation state, in which basically it asks the questions about representation, and also it also talks about the responsibility of the society. People who basically represent the culture, produce the culture, the idea of understanding of what it means to be a society and social responsibility. I think Dalit cinema has a very important role because it is the medium which reaches highest number of people, and also it's the medium which can communicate effectively. Unlike writing, like writing books and spreading things, film is a very effective medium through which even people who don't know how to write and read will try to understand, see film as a very important way in which it molds the culture of the people. Therefore, I think Dalit intervention is a very, very important and also most powerful medium through which film becomes very important in terms of changing the discussions about society and also paving the way for the modern and also anti-caste and also inclusive nature of society. So in this context, I think, the Marathi and also Tamil film industry, I think making a very important interventions and paving way for Dalit cinema. Like, in fact, we are very familiar, like these days, I don't even watch Telugu films because we know what it is. Like it's all about, dominant caste and their culture and their, power and also the feudalism basically. Like most of the Telugu films valorize feudalism, like feudal culture and caste culture becomes very important part of it. Like, having this huge sets like Bahubali, you might have seen. I've never watched Bahubali, but, sets of Bahubali, or even for that matter, like recently Rajamouli's film Triple R, what they do is that they use Dalit and Adivasi figures to basically again subvert this real resistance and real struggles of the Dalits to mold into their own modes of filmmaking. So in this context, what happens is that Dalit subjects is used as a way to project and make profits and also to reproduce the Brahminical and the dominant caste culture. So that's one of the reasons why I think Dalit filmmakers are very, very different, precisely because what at one level they represent reality of the Dalit oppression, but also what they do is that they also challenge the caste ethic and morality of the dominant caste. Like what it means. Like that's why, like in the context of where we are in terms of North America, like that's what African American films, like African American filmmakers and also the actors, one of the important things they try to bring in is this injustice, the racial injustice, how basically that becomes a very important ways in which to challenge white supremacy and also white domination and white capital in North America. So in this context, what is that Dalits are, I think this is a very important intervention, and also this will change the very idea of narrative of making films and representation of people and the culture in India. And I will stop it here, and I think we want the thank you so much, Vijay, for this opportunity, and thank you all for listening to me. Jai Bhim.
Jai.
Thank you, Professor Chinnaya. I was so happy to listen to you talk to in Hindi. Your perspective in the tradition of films are very helpful to understand how Hindi films were based on Brahminical and religious matter. It's very interesting to know that money had changed the dynamics of filmmaking, removing the Dalits from film lines and bringing in all the Savarnas. And the Dalit history of filmmaking was changed. Thanks to Paranjit and Nagraj Manjure, who are bringing a new era and new generation of films showing Dalit culture, Dalit stories, caste oppression problems. And hopefully now the new eras of directors like Shailesh, Nagesh, you guys will also add to this. Shailesh has already done that. So thank you, Professor. It is, and it is always a pleasure to listen to you. You have so much to say, but the time limit allows us to listen to you so less. So thank you so much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our first guest speaker, Dr. Harshad Kakade. Harshad has earned his PhD in Environmental Sciences from Jalgaon, Maharashtra University. He was awarded a Young Scientist Award, Rajiv Gandhi National Fellowship in 2013. Dr. Harshad, besides studies, also enjoys writing about various elements of films, character plots, performances, cinematography, and directing and editing. So I'm looking forward for you, Harshad, to see your perspective on Dalit films and your narrative on this. Harshad Kakade, Dr. Harshad Kakade. Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone. Jai Bhim. Today is one of the greatest and special day for me because I'm here in such personalities which have everyone have a specific perspective towards the industries, Marathi industry, Tamil industry, or any film industry. So my point is, so Mr. Jangam sir has explained exactly marked the points which have really facing the industry, facing such a type of discriminations, and everything that he explained was extremely perfect. Even we can see how the Indian cinema or Indian theater has been captured by the so-called upper caste or Brahmin, and I will give some examples. Like we can take we can have perform little exercise. Like take an example of any TV serial, daily soap, or industry which have non-Brahmin actresses as a lead face. Absolutely, we cannot. It's impossible to imagine the non-Brahmin actress as a lead in the industry. Why this is so happened, and specifically in Marathi industry, I will say it doesn't find the simple. They didn't the director or the producer didn't find the simple, beautiful, talented non-Brahmin girl. It's a sort of a joke. Actually, they didn't find it. There is no Jadhav, Pawar, Gaikwad, Kakde, etc. in Marathi industry, or I don't think that they know, or they found why it is so. I don't know. One more example I'd like to explain. One TV Marathi serial that in Marathi, that is Ranga Maza Vega. They found they didn't found the simple girl which has a brown skin. They found Brahmin girl, fair girl, make her brown, dark color, and the series is going on. So it is the condition of the Marathi industry, and on other hand, we can see the regional cinema. I will start from Jai Bhim. When Surya on his birthday on 23rd July, he releases a poster of his upcoming film, in which he looks very serious, wore a lawyer's gown. His eyes were stuck in somewhere in unknown. Also, we can see some Adivasis in the poster, and the movie name was Jevin. After the release of this poster, people throw the crystal clear message in social media, TV, news, that if you want to see the real scenario of the industry, please why go for the mainstream cinema? You go for the regional cinema first, and you can see the real picture, real scenario of the industry or the society. After that, in 2019, we can see Article 15, where we can, it is one example from mainstream cinema. In Article 15, where we can see the lower caste or Dalit characters kept purposefully kept in the back foot, as Mr. Jangam sir says, purposefully Dalit or lower caste people kept in the back foot, and the police officer who belongs from the upper caste or Brahmin came in the picture, came in the mainstream to save the Dalits, which is clearly just a daydreaming, or just it's not possible in the real life. And on other hand, we can see the Nagaraj Manjue, who completely changed the stream, the thinking of the people by Sairat. We can see the Jabya throw the stone at the last, and that stone has the answer to the upper caste people, that lower caste or Dalit or the last marginalized people, we are not going to stop or not taking these type of pressures on them, and somewhere the pressure releases. This is the boomerang, and another we can see the impact of Jund on the cinema. There is a limit to how much one group or one kind of a person can actually identified with another group. So one can have empathy. Certainly people can make films trying to be empathetic to the lives of the marginalized people, but you can actually have to be marginalized for making such films, such raise some questions of the marginalized. You should be marginalized. After that only you can clearly show the pain of the marginalized or Dalit, to tell the story from that perspective. And as you can see in Kala, Mr. Paranjit successfully tried to explain, if you are always viewing things from the perspective of Rama, Ravan is always going to be a villain. And so in reverse, if you are the one speaking from the perspective of Ravan, Rama might be villain in that story. So on this note, I will my work, because actually it's 8:30 and I have to rush to the another program. So thank you, Tai, thank you, Jai Bhim, everyone. Thank you.
Brother Vijay, we can't hear you at all.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Arshad. It was wonderful, like, you know, you brought the your perspective from the ground, especially from Maharashtra, like, you know, in the film industry, what is happening, right? So that's a great. Definitely I agree with you, like, because there are very less directors from the film field all over, not only in Maharashtra, in every state. In the every state's the same situation, like Paranjit and, you know, Nagraj Manjule and Sailesh Bai, they are really challenging this Brahmanical film industry, and we must support them. Whenever, like, brother Chinnaya and you brought the, you know, the how they are, these films are humiliating the Dalit characters in the movie, just I thought about this, I want to just to show, because it's it makes sense to show here. This is the movie from Bahubali. You guys may know, like, you know, he's the, like, you know, the king from the Kshatriya caste. You know, the guy who is sitting there, he is a Dalit. In the movie, clearly, it's a famous movie. It made like crores of rupees, and it was praised by the every Indian in India, not only in India, like even Prime Minister Narendra Modi, like, he praised this movie. You can see, like, can you imagine this? So humiliating, like, you know, it's a clearly, you know, like, not humiliating. It is like kind of, you know, like uh, just like promoting the casteism openly. So just I want to show that, like, you know, how the Indian movies are humiliating the Dalit characters in the movies. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to introduce the next speaker. His name is, sorry. I'm going to introduce next speaker, Nagesh Wohurwaga. Nagesh Wohurwaga is a film director, poet, and writer. He is a president for Sant Kabir Arpanej Seva Bharvi multi-purpose institutions in Maharashtra state in India. Through the Orphanage, he helped many poor boys and girls into the education. He is an Ambedkarite and took active part in the Ambedkarite movement and played a component role in many movements. He published first collection of poems in 2006. He was a recipient of awards like Samaj Bhushan Award, Dr. Bahasab Ambedkar International Award in Bangkok, Thailand, Lakshmikant Barke Khala Gaurav Award, and a National Nagbhushan Award in Nagpur, and Dr. Ambedkar National Award in Nagpur. He has done film casting in few short films like Dehadan, Pustak, Krantik Gar, and Bapuji. So, and also, like, there are 4 films still waiting. They are in the progress for the release. Now I'm going to invite Nagesh. Please, Nagesh.
Okay, sir. Okay, chalo. Thank you, sir. Jai Bhim to all my dear friends. I am Nagesh Wohurwaga from Nagpur in Maharashtra, India. सभी मेरे साथियों को मेरा प्यार भरा जय भीम। हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूँ सबके साथ, आपकी परमिशन हो तो?
Sure, definitely.
क्योंकि मैं कंफर्टेबल रहूंगा, क्योंकि मुझे इंग्लिश इतना आती नहीं, पर सुन सकता हूँ मैं। पर मेरी राह रखने के लिए सबसे प्रथम मैं विजय जी, पुलिस सर और वैशाली ताई का धन्यवाद, तहे दिल से धन्यवाद चाहता हूँ उनका, कि उन्होंने मुझे यहाँ पे इनवाइट किया है ऐसे अच्छे कार्यक्रम में, जो परिसंवाद है आज का कास्ट इन इंडियन सिनेमा। बहुत अच्छा सब्जेक्ट चुना है सर ने, और इसलिए मैं सब जो ऑर्गेनाइज है इस आज के इस परिसंवाद के सभी लोगों का मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ। और मैं अपनी राह में ज्यादा कुछ बात नहीं बोलूंगा, थोड़ा सा ही आपका, क्योंकि मुझे शैलेश सर को भी सुनना है, हमारे मित्र है, हमारे बड़े भाई है, उनको भी सुनना है मुझे। तो मैं ज्यादा बात न करते हुए 2-3 जो मुद्दे हैं फिल्म के बारे में, कास्ट इन इंडिया जो अपना जो सब्जेक्ट है उसके बारे में मैं आपसे कुछ बातें शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। जो सत्यजीत रे जो सर है, सत्यजीत रे सर के जो सिनेमे थे, वो उन्होंने भी जाति प्रथा के आधार पे तब से उन्होंने सिनेमे बनाए थे, और वो अकेले एक ऐसे इंसान रहे हैं अभी तक के सत्यजीत रे ने, जो सच्ची घटना पर आधारित, जो दलित है, कुचले है, आदिवासी है, उनके बारे में जो जो उन्होंने उस जमाने से अभी सत्यजीत रे सर ने मांडे थे, वो मैं उनसे बहुत प्रभावित हो गया। और अभी के फिलहाल में हमारे रंजीत पा सर है, नागराज मंदुड़े सर है, और हमारे नागपुर के डायरेक्टर हमारे शैलेंद्र नरवाड़े सर है, जिन्होंने जयंती के माध्यम से जो पीढ़ियों से आता चला था, जो कि ब्राह्मणी वर्ग एक विशिष्ट लोगों ने प्रस्तापित की हुई ये फिल्म इंडस्ट्री है कि हम भी फिल्म बना सकते हैं, और हम ही, हमारा ही हाथ में सब कुछ है, तुम सिर्फ हमारे नीचे काम करो। ये जो प्रथा थी अभी तक की, वो अभी नष्ट हो गई है, होने वाली है और हो रही है। इस बात से मुझे बहुत अच्छा महसूस होता है कि हम जैसे लोगों को अभी चांस मिल रहा है, क्योंकि अभी तक तो हमको सिर्फ पर्दे पे हम देखते थे, टीवी पे देखते थे, कई कई तो हमारे पास टीवी भी नहीं थे, टीवी दूसरे के घर जाके टीवी देखते थे। पर आज परिस्थिति थोड़ी बदल गई है, और इसके लिए सत्यजीत रे सर है, जो उन्होंने पीढ़ियों से जो एक व्यवस्था थी वहाँ पे हाथ डाला है। अभी हमारे नागराज मंजुड़े जी है, हमारे अच्छे मित्र, अभी रंजीत पा है, और अभी शैलेश दादा नरवाड़े है, जिन्होंने बता दिया कि तुम ही सब कुछ नहीं हो, हमको संधि मिल गई, हमको चांस मिल गया, तो हम भी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के बादशाह बन सकते हैं। और ये जयंती मूवी ने अभी साबित कर दिया है। इसलिए मैं ये सभी जो लोग हैं जिन्होंने जिनके जिनके मैंने नाम लिया, ये मेरे, इनसे मुझे बहुत सीखने को मिला, क्योंकि मैं अभी नया नया फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में आ चुका हूँ। नया इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैंने बहुत काम कर चुका, अभी 15 साल से मैं इंडस्ट्री में काम करा। मुंबई गया हूँ, मुंबई में जो धक्के मुझे खाए, जो मुझे वहाँ का अनुभव मिला है, वो बहुत भयानक है, जो मैं यहाँ पे बता भी नहीं सकता था। क्योंकि तुमको वहाँ पे जो काम मिलता है, पहले कुछ कुछ लोग हैं जो जाति भेद से दूर रहते हैं, परंतु कुछ लोग अभी भी जाति को बहुत चिपकते हैं, बहुत चिटका हुआ है, क्योंकि उनको दलित आदिवासी बोला तो वो बहुत ही अपने लोगों का राग करते हैं। तो इस वजह से मैं बहुत डिप्रेशन में था, मुझे ऐसे लोगों का सामना करना पड़ा मुंबई में। फिर मैं नागपुर आया तो मुझे भी पता चला कि नहीं, कि अपन अपना खुद का क्यों नहीं करते। अभी चाहे कुछ भी हो, मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं है, सादा मेरे पास कंप्यूटर भी नहीं है, फिल्म बनाने का कोई साधन भी नहीं है, फिर भी मैंने शॉर्ट फिल्म, 4 शॉर्ट फिल्म के माध्यम से मैंने जो भी मेरी काबिलियत थी, जो मुझे संधि नहीं मिल रही थी, वो अभी संधि मिल रही है। और उस संधि से मैं अभी तक देहदान, जो विषय अभी तक किसी ने नहीं चूज किया था, ऐसा सब्जेक्ट पर मैंने एक शॉर्ट फिल्म बनाई, देहदान, जो कि भारत की पहली फिल्म बन गई। और वो फिल्म भारत गवर्नमेंट के, महाराष्ट्र शासन ने वो प्रोजेक्ट में यूज कर रहे हैं। तो वो मेरे लिए बहुत गर्व की महसूस की बात हो गई थी कि ऐसे सब्जेक्ट पर अभी तक कोई फिल्म नहीं है, और सोशल अवेयरनेस की वजह से वो फिल्म भी अभी अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स कर रही है गवर्नमेंट के अंडर में। तो इसलिए कास्ट इन इंडियन सिनेमा, जो टाइटल ही अपना परिसंवाद का है, वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा है। क्योंकि अभी भी लोग कास्ट के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा चिटके हुए हैं, क्योंकि कास्ट बोले तो अभी भी दलित आदिवासी लोगों का द्वेष करते हैं। एक आधा जो डायरेक्टर रहेगा, दलित डायरेक्टर है, ये है, तो उसके फिल्में कैसे पिटनी चाहिए। और हम लोग फिल्में बहुत ही मेहनत से बनाते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे पास उतना पैसा नहीं है। शैलेश सर को पता है कि उन्होंने जयंती एक थिएटर मूवीज बनाई है, उनको क्या तकलीफ हो गई, और हमने भी उनके साथ काम किया है। शैलेश सर को बहुत तकलीफ होती है, पर जब फिल्में चलती नहीं है, क्यों नहीं चलती, ये लोगों के जो प्रस्तापित लोग हैं कि वो उन फिल्मों को चलाने नहीं देते। पर अभी ऐसा नहीं है, अभी हम हमारा खुद का प्रोडक्शन हाउस बना रहे हैं, आज हम खुद अपने लेवल पे खड़े हो रहे हैं। ये हमारे लिए आज के परिस्थिति में अच्छी बात है। नए नए लोग फिल्में बना रहे हैं, और वो फिल्में आज समाज में, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आज के जो युवा डायरेक्टर है, वो जो और बहुत संवेदनशील हैं। और आज के जो भारत का जो वास्तव है, देश का जो विषय है, वो सिर्फ दलित और अम्बेडकरी डायरेक्टर ही दिखा सकते हैं। ये मेरा स्पष्ट मत है, बहुमत है। इससे मैं बहुत मुझे मुझे पता है कि जो चीजें अभी तक किसी ने नहीं दिखाई, जो चीजें अभी तक नहीं दिखाई, वो चीजें अब फिल्मों के माध्यम से बाहर आ रही है। जैसे कि जय भीम सिनेमा आ गया है। वो जय भीम ने जो आदिवासी के साथ जो हुआ है, वो अभी तक किसी ने नहीं दिखाया था। और साउथ इंडिया का सही में मैं बहुत दिल से धन्यवाद मानता हूँ कि उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी फिल्म भी बनाई है। फिल्म बनाई कि जय भीम से उन्होंने साबित कर दिया कि तुम कुछ भी करो, तुम्हारा जो भी षड्यंत्र है, वो हम उससे डरने वाले नहीं है। और हम हमारे हमारे जो प्रश्न है, हमारे जो भाषा है, हमारे जो सब्जेक्ट है, हम वो आपको दिखाएंगे। और अभी इस माध्यम से एक क्रांति होने वाली है, और वो क्रांति की शुरुआत हो चुकी है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। क्योंकि नागराज मंजुड़े सर है, अभी हमारे रंजित पाल सर है, और शैलेश दादा जी है। क्योंकि शैलेश दादा ने जो जयंती फिल्म बनाई है, वो जो फिल्म है वो काफी लोगों ने देखी है, शायद आपने ही देखे होंगे। उनमें जो मैसेज दिया वो अम्बेडकराइट मैसेज है। और छत्रपति शिवाजी के छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज महाराज के बारे में, जो हमारे महाराष्ट्र के जितने भी जाति भेद है, वो नष्ट करने का काम जयंती फिल्म ने किया, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। इसलिए वो सक्सेसफुल हो गई। इसलिए आप जैसे जो सभी लोगों को मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ कि हम जैसे नए लोगों को आप कुछ मदद करो, क्योंकि आपकी मदद से ही हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। क्योंकि अपना हमारे अपने दलित डायरेक्टर का यही प्रॉब्लम रहता है कि अपने पास पैसा नहीं रहता है, और इसलिए अपने फिल्में नहीं बन पाती हैं। क्योंकि हमारे पास अपने पास बहुत अच्छे अच्छे सब्जेक्ट है, जो कि बॉलीवुड वाले के पास नहीं है। अभी का है मराठी इंडस्ट्री में जो कुछ अच्छे जो डायरेक्टर है, जो अच्छे सब्जेक्ट पे काम करते हैं, साउथ इंडियन वाले ना किसी से डरते हैं। जो है वो अपने छाती ठोकपणे आपला सिनेमा लोकांपर्यंत घेऊन येतात। इस हिसाब से भी हमारे जो डायरेक्टर है, जो दलित है, आदिवासी है, जो कुचले अभी दबे कुचले जो दिग्दर्शक है, अभी वो पीछे क्यों पीछे? कि उनके पास कोई पैसे का साधन नहीं है, मनी प्रॉब्लम रहती है। और फिल्म बनाना आसान बात नहीं है। फिल्म बनाने के लिए बहुत मेहनत का काम है। शैलेश सर आपके बताएंगे उनके मनोगत में। शैलेश सर को मैं सभी मेरे तरफ से जो भी कुछ लगता है, उनके साथ हम पूरी टीम, हमारी टीम रहती है। वो हमारे मार्गदर्शक है। तो इसलिए इंडियन सिनेमा इन कास्ट अभी भी खत्म नहीं हुआ है, ये मुझे लगता है। क्योंकि ये पीढ़ियों से जात व्यवस्था चालू आ रही है, और ये पता नहीं कब खत्म होगी। पर इसकी शुरुआत अच्छे डायरेक्टर लोगों ने, अच्छे हमारे जैसे लोगों ने कुछ उसकी शुरुआत की है। इसलिए मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मुझे आता आता है। पर मुझे वो चीजें नहीं है ना जो मैं चाहता हूँ कि वो चीजें मुझे मिल जाए, तो मैं भी एक बड़ा थिएटर मूवीज बन सकता हूँ। वैसे भी एक मेरी स्लम रॉक करके एक मूवी आ रही है, जो कि दलित आदिवासी पिछड़े वर्ग की है। वहाँ का जो उन्होंने जो संघर्ष किया, वो संघर्ष फिल्म में दिखाऊंगा, दिखने का मैंने प्रयास किया है। और कास्टिंग सिनेमा, ये जो वर्ड है, ये वर्ड शायद भारत में बहुत ज्यादा लागू है। क्योंकि भारत के लोग जाति व्यवस्था के आधार पर बहुत यहाँ पे जो हिंसा होती है, वो सब जाति व्यवस्था पे होती है। इसलिए आज के दौर में इंडियन सिनेमा जाति मुक्त कैसा होना चाहिए, और सब लोगों को कैसा न्याय होना चाहिए, ये सिर्फ हम दलित आदिवासी जो डायरेक्टर है, वही उनके माध्यम से ही हम लोगों को पहुंचाएंगे। और अपने देश के लिए एक अच्छा सिनेमा कैसा रहता है, वो हम साकार करने का प्रयास करेंगे। और आपने मुझे जो संधि दी है बोलने की, उसके लिए मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रिया करता हूँ। और सभी मेरे प्यारे भाई को मेरा प्यार भरा जय भीम, नमो बुद्धाय।
Thank you, Nagesh. You are right. We are challenging the Savarna directors. One small opportunity we got, and we made away films like Kala, We made films like Jayanti. We made films like Jhund. So yeah, we are just waiting for an opportunity, and we will never let any of those opportunities go. Directors like Paranjeet, the Masan director, Masan, I forgot his name, Nagesh, and now you young ones have contributed a lot to films, and hopefully you will be doing more awareness through your films. I hope viewers, you are listening. We can all help them financially for their basic needs, whatever they need to help make good cinema. Thank you, Nagesh, for bringing your perspective here to cinema, and hopefully your coming film, Slumrock, will be more bigger than Slumdog Millionaire, and you
thank you.
see it somewhere in the Oscars. Why not? And yeah, good luck with everything, and thanks for your perspective here. Now, the big time talk. We are all excited to listen to. It gives me immense pleasure and joy to introduce our guest speaker, Shailesh Narwade, director of one of the finest movies that I have seen, Jayanti. Shailesh Dada is a filmmaker, director, and a media person. Besides that, Jayanti, Dada has also directed a movie called Roommates in Marathi. Dada earned his first state award at the age of 22. His drama Masiha was invited for National Film Festival in 2018. Jayanti won Marathi Filmfare for Best Male Debut. And Dada, everybody is so much fond of Ruturaj, this handsome hunk. Where did you search him and brought him? We don't know, but he did amazing. He justified the role of Jayanti so very well. And we were very happy that you came up with a film like Jayanti. I really request everyone to watch the film, especially the teenagers. Parents, show this movie to your kids. It's a learning turning point in their life. I congratulate you, Dada, for your achievements and for making this masterpiece, Jayanti. And we are all looking forward for you to make a translation, put this film on Netflix or whatever, so major population can watch and translate it in Hindi. We are looking forward for that, so all others can even enjoy and get the essence of that movie. So over to you, Shailesh Dada. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishali ma'am, for your kind words. Jai Bhim to all. My name is Shailesh Narwade. I am from Nagpur. Now, Vaishali ma'am has already given my introduction. So, yes, I agree to the thoughts expressed by the previous speakers. I believe that cinema is a very impactful medium, and it makes very desired or the required changes in one's life, and it had played a very major role in the socio-political scenario that India is facing right now. It is because the oppressor class had identified the power of this medium, and they used it very effectively. I think we Bahujans have failed in doing so. Um, we have been very active on the social front, and yes, it is very important to be there in the social movements. That is the only thing that can bring some change in the society, and the social change, the social transformation can lead us to some political gains also. But I believe that the cultural movement or the cultural revolution, I think, is the first step that can lead us to the social change that we look for. and ultimately it can take us to the political achievements also. So the cultural movement is very important, and since last few years or a couple of decades, I can say something is happening in that front. We have done a very tremendous work in literature, in academics, but I think we need to do more, lot more in this arts field, mostly in cinema, because the cinema reaches to millions of people at one time, and the audiovisual medium, uh, that whatever we see on the screen, that affects us and provokes us to think about it. Uh, Talking about my experiences of making Jayanti, and the subject of today's talk, caste in India, the caste in cinema. Uh, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and after college, I worked in the media, in print and electronic media for around 10 years. Uh, I came very late, or I became active in the social movement very late. But uh, I was I was lucky that I got two good people who mentored me. As a filmmaker, I was always thinking, yes, I admire the work of other filmmakers of the current time. I learn from them, their style of filming. Uh, but I always used to think, why we stop just by showing a picture or a portrait of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? Why we cannot uh, openly talk about their thoughts, about their ideology in our film? Why only a picture? Why only a photo? Why only a portrait? Why not more than that? Because when we see the films that come from the oppressor class, they are very vocal about their ideology. If we see a bhajan or a aarti in a film, we don't feel anything awkward. It has become very normal for us. But if we see a song on Baba Saheb or on Buddha, then other people start feeling uncomfortable. Why it is so? Uh, I think our constitution gives us the right, the freedom to speak about our ideology, our thoughts, and our thoughts are very progressive. We don't want to hurt anyone. We talk about truth. We talk about peace. So why we cannot do something more just than just showing the photo or picture of our leaders, our social leaders, our forefathers? So with Jayanti, I tried to do that. Uh, I did not stop there by just showing a photo. Uh, I can say, and I think those who have watched Jayanti, they will agree that in the film we have been very vocal about the thoughts of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Jyotiba Phule, Shahu Maharaj. We have even mentioned Periyar. We have uh, we have also talked about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and we have done it very proudly, and people could relate to it. Uh, so and when we talked about Baba Saheb Ambedkar's thought or his teachings, what we did, like the one speaker earlier said, that uh, they show the Dalits and Bahujans in the very lower rank, and they try to show their place. You are here, and they try to put their words in our mouth. With Jayanti, our lead character is not from the ST community. I mean, when we expect someone is talking about Baba Saheb, then he must be from the ST community. No, In Jayanti, one OBC person, he talks about the contribution of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and we did this in Jayanti. With that, what we wanted to tell is that now other communities, other Bahujan, other castes who belong to the bigger, larger Bahujan identity, they should learn more about the thoughts of Phule Shahu Ambedkar, and not just learn, they should speak about them openly. Why only Ambedkarites? Other people from other castes should do that. And that it was not the visualization, we have shown it on the screen. How a person who has no idea about Phule Shahu Ambedkarite ideology, it is his journey. Jayanti is his journey. From that point to the point when he comes in contact with those thoughts, and how he transforms himself in the field of academics, in the field of culture, in the field of economics, and how the thoughts of these great leaders can help one person not only to transform himself or herself, but the surrounding also, that we that we have shown in Jayanti. So that was my perspective of showing the ideology in such a vocal manner. Um, I met many people who said ki we were waiting for this content since long time. No one was talking so openly about this thought. One member from Baba Saheb's family, when he watched the film and we met in a function in Pune, I was so thankful to him when he said ki this is the first film that has given so much space and respect to Baba Saheb. So that is a big achievement of mine, I think, of the entire team, that we could do so. So this is one thing. When other people can speak about their ideology, we should speak openly about ideology. The second thing, the problems or a Bahujan filmmaker faces or may face in the industry on the basis of caste. Yes, it has happened with Jayanti also. What I experienced in these 3 years is they will not stop you just because you are a filmmaker from the Bahujan community. If you are making the films they are making, or the content like they want to show to the world, they don't have any problem. They don't have any problem with the content maker. They have problem with the content. If you are making the films that are just showing the problems, even then also they will not say you anything. They will not stop you. But they have problem when you start speaking about the solution. You are not just showing the problem, you are also showing the solution of the problem. Then they have problem. They have problem with such content, and we have faced it with Jayanti. In Jayanti we did not stop just by showing the problems that come out of the caste problem. We showed in the film that how one can get out of this problem. It is a very anti-caste narrative. How one person, when he decides to give up the caste, and when he sees a human being sees other person as a human being, what positive change can happen in the society. So yes, they have problem with such content. If you just showing the photo or a picture of your great leader, they don't have any problem. But if you are openly speaking about their thoughts, then they have the problem. So now it is more than 6 months since Jayanti released theatrically in Maharashtra, across Maharashtra, and a few other cities in other states also. But still we are struggling to bring the film on television and OTT. The only reason, because the people sitting at the top of all those companies in India, and even the platforms that are from abroad, but now they have their offices in India. So all those people heading those companies are from the oppressor class. So they have some problem with Jayanti. And but I think now we have crossed that phase, and in July, I hope he will be coming on OTT. I cannot reveal the name of the platform right now, but we are coming on a very good platform. And seeing the response that we got in Marathi language, what we are doing is we are dubbing the film in Hindi, so that it reaches to more and more people. So Jayanti will be available on the OTT platform in Marathi and Hindi. Plus, it will be telecast on television in a couple of months also in Marathi. So yes, the one more thing that I experienced while making the film is we tried to have on board more Bahujan people in the technical team also and in the cast also. But we were not that rigid ki we will work only with Bahujan. So we had people from all the backgrounds. But when these people they work in other films where which are on other religion, or where the content is on other religion or other caste, they don't have any problem. But I noticed that few of them they tried to influence me when we were shooting the film. Some of them tried. They said ki, "Oh, this scene is getting larger, bigger. It is taking too much time. Can we cut it short? Can we cut these dialogues?" And when I noticed what they are saying or about which dialogue, then they had problem particularly with those scenes which were speaking about the ideology. Only those scenes. But we shoot those scenes, we kept them in the film. And they had thought ki okay, a group of people is there who is they have collected some money and they wanted to make a film which may not get to any proper platform. They are just making it because of their hobby. They must have thought it. But when they learned, they got to know that oh, Jayanti is getting released in theaters, in so many theaters in Maharashtra. Most of them were not very happy. They are the same people whom we gave the opportunity to work in the film. We paid them. We gave them credits in all the publicity. These are the same people who did not share a single poster of the film when the film was releasing, when the promotion was going on. They did not utter a single word about the film. So this is the way the industry works. And therefore, I do not agree when people say that the film industry is the place where there is no casteism. I don't believe there is casteism and a lot of casteism. Anyways, the one thing is that that problem is there. It will not end in a day or two, but we should not stop here. The need of the hour is people from the Bahujan community. They have to tell their stories, their own stories, from their own perspective. Then only the real problems will come to fore. The real change will happen. We have tried it with Jayanti, and we will keep doing it in the future also. More than 50 people came together and they helped us financially, and then we could make the film. We could come to this stage when we have released it in theaters, and now we are coming on OTT and satellite. So the journey, the 3 years of that journey were very. There were a lot of learnings. I will take this opportunity to appeal the people who are in this call, mostly those people who have watched Jayanti in Canada. We have started a crowdfunding campaign to meet the expenses of dubbing the film in Hindi. The only intention is not to earn money from that. The only intention is to take the message or the content to more and more people. Because in Marathi there is a very limited audience, and Marathi people in India also, they watch the content in Hindi. Therefore, Hindi films do more business in Maharashtra than Marathi. So we did not have money at that time to make the film in Hindi, but now we have option that when we are going on OTT, we want to take, put it in Hindi also. So we have already started the work, the dubbing work, and we are targeting a July release on OTT. So I would like to appeal to those who have watched Jayanti, if not others, to help us to support this crowdfunding campaign and help us take the film to the larger audience, the masses. Those who have not watched the film, I hope they will be able to watch it in July. And after that, if not contributions, I would love to hear, to listen to their feedback, how they, whether they liked it or not. So yes, I thank the organizers, Vaishali ma'am, for inviting me and to express my thoughts here. And I know that your team had taken good efforts in screening the film in Toronto. I expect the same support I will get, our team will get from your team in this crowdfunding campaign. It is there on crowdera.com. I will share the link with Vaishali ma'am, and I hope it reaches the people who have watched Jayanti. Thank you all. Jai Bhim.
Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you very much for bringing your experiences and your first-hand experiences to our platform. Definitely, like our Dalit Adivasi Bahujan community, it almost like 80% of the country, they have been eagerly waiting for the stories made by people like you, from their stories, their real stories from the ground, right? So definitely, like my personal experience is always same. I stopped showing the Indian movies to my children. So many South Asians, like who are living in Canada, in other countries, they show because of they don't want to lose the culture, right? So but for me, no, it's not a culture, it's a Brahminical culture. So I don't want to expose my kids to them. So that's what, like, we stop, like we show, like we sit there and we watch the movies together, but really what are those really movies make the sense, right? Especially like movies made by like you and Paranjit and Nagaraj Manjule, they watch them. So I want to show them what is the real problem in the country, what is their community they're struggling there, right? Because I know like some dominant caste directors try to make the movies on our subjects, but they are always again Brahminical. So they try to portray, they try to bring the the Dalit community or Adivasi Bahujan community into their fold again. So but like whenever like movies made by you guys, it's it really comes from your heart. So that's a big difference. I appreciate you for that. Like definitely we encourage you, the directors who came from the Dalit Adivasi Bahujan community, with your hard work. Definitely, yeah. So now we move to question and answer period. If anybody has any questions, you can ask the questions in a chat, or we can unmute you guys. I think Arunji has one question. Arunji, just unmute, please. Yep. Now we are good to go.
Can I ask one question?
Arunji, please.
There are many Valmiki Dalit singers in Bollywood. Is there any reason behind it? another area.
Arunji, can you louder a little bit? We cannot hear.
I'm saying,
Yeah, now you go.
I'm saying there are many Dalit Valmikis in Dalit Valmikis are singers in Bollywood. What is the reason? Did you get my question?
Yeah, you are saying that there are some many singers from Adivasi Dalit community in Bollywood, right? What is the reason for that?
Especially Valmikis are there in singing. क्या कारण है कोई इसके पीछे कोई सह संबंध है? Is there any correlation?
Shailesh ji, you want to answer, or you know something about that? Nagesh bhai.
Yeah, so actually, in my knowledge, I don't know that there are too many singers from that community, Valmiki community. Yes, there are independent singers, I think, who make their independent music videos or songs, and mostly from the northern states of Punjab, a few from Haryana, I think. But I don't have any knowledge that there are so many people in Bollywood or in the mainstream cinema, or I may have missed noticing them.
There are so many in that. You please search all those.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Right. Thank you very much, Arun.
Can you name a few, sir?
वो मैं अभी एक तो ये एक तो मैं अभी वो राज कपूर के साथ काम करते थे, शैलेंद्र, और आजकल जो ये फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में वो सुखविंदर सिंह और वो हंसराज हंस, और जो ये सुखविंदर के और कई रिलेटिव हैं, मैं नाम भूल गया, वो आजकल बड़े प्रसिद्ध हैं गाने में, मैं भूल गया नाम, कई लोग हैं उसमें, स्पेशली पंजाब के दलित वाल्मीकि समाज के ही हैं 4-5 लोग जो, और they are related to each other.
No, I don't know much about that, whether they are related to each other or not. But one thing, a few singers who came in the mainstream cinema, in Hindi cinema, or who sung in Hindi films in the last, I think, 10-20 years, some of them they were popular in their own state or in their regional songs, and later they were noticed by the Bollywood music directors, and like A.R. Rahman, he brought some of them in the Hindi films. Some of them might have come from the reality shows, based on singing that run on different national channels. I think some of them might have come from there.
Yeah.
देखिए, हम ये हंसराज हंस का ब्रदर इधर टोरंटो में रहता है, वो इधर भी गाते हैं। ये वाल्मीकि टेम्पल में हम लोग बाबा साहब के मिशन के लिए कुछ उधर सहयोग के लिए उधर गए थे, उन लोगों ने हमें जब पूछा, उन लोगों ने भी बताया हमें कि ये एक दूसरे के सब संबंधी हैं, एक दूसरे के साथ इनके रिश्ते हैं, उसकी बेटी वहां भी आई है, उसकी बहन उसको भी आई है, उन्होंने ही हमें बताया था, हमें पहले पता भी नहीं था।
Yeah, it could be. Thank you very much, Arunji, for bringing that. It's really, it's a light to know, the Dalit Adivasi communities.
और इसमें और आप लोग शैलेंद्र को जानते होंगे, जो राज कपूर, कितने 300 से ज्यादा जिसने गाने लिखे और राज कपूर के साथ काम किया।
शैलेंद्र भी नो शैलेंद्र
ये
शैलेंद्र के बारे में सुना है, उनके बेटे भी अभी he came forward and he spoke about his father, and I think he admitted from being from the Dalit community.
वो तो वेल नोन है उनके बारे में। और इनके बारे में भी वेल नोन जो मैं बता रहा हूँ मैं, ये अभी डिस्कशन में ध्यान में आया, नहीं तो वो 5-6 लोगों का नाम मुझे पता थे कि ये उधर वाल्मीकि टेम्पल में ही उन लोगों ने मुझे बताए थे। जो आजकल के ये नए नए गाने आ रहे हैं उनमें वो कई लोगों ने गाए, उन्हीं लोगों ने। वो जो अभी एक रियलिटी शो में आ रहा है जिसका शादी का कुछ चल रहा है, मैं नाम भूल गया उसका अभी।
Right. So the reality is like there could be Dalit and Adivasi Bahujan communities in the film field, but it's very hard for them to come out who are they, right? The moment they are identified who are they, definitely they're not given any chance.
Once they are identified, they will be out. You are absolutely right.
Exactly. They might be hiding like everybody's hiding, right? So
yeah.
So that's the big, strength for the, this Brahminical,
You are absolutely right. When Shailendra was alive, nobody knew about it. After his death, now we came to know that he was a great man in film industry from Dalit.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have to say one thing. When I was talking with Nagesh, he was looking forward for a camera costing around something 5 lakhs rupees. He wants one for himself for filmmaking. And as Shailesh Dada said, for his movie crowdfunding to translate that movie for the dubbing and everything. Please, if anybody is interested, help these guys. We are really looking forward for really good cinema. And Jayanti, I really can bet you when it's in Hindi, Dada has made a film that we all want to say, like whatever we have to say, the movie has it. So please support them. Nagesh with his camera, Dada with his dubbing, and hopefully we have some good cinema coming and cause a lot of awakening as mass media really happens with films. So mass media awakening will be a great idea through films. So everybody please try, help, support, share the message, and whoever is interested, Dada, please give your contacts or wherever you want it. We can do something.
Sure, definitely. Is there any questions? Anybody wants to ask any questions? Yeah, Gautam has a question.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Vijay Garu. And thank you to both the speakers and to Dr. Harshad as well. So my question, so I am a Savarna by heritage, but I have given it all up. And Vijay, like you, I don't watch Hindi or Indian cinema much at all, unless it comes to me from credible kind of recommendations. So my question to the speakers is, like, especially, I think Nagesh had mentioned that new filmmakers are conscientious. नए जो film creators हैं, वो संवेदनशील हैं. So on the flip side, how do you get the audiences to become संवेदनशील? Like, how do you sort of, like, a lot of India uses movies to escape from their realities, right? So how do you sort of reconcile that escapist fantasy with telling the truth about what's happening in India with Dalits and the oppression that's happening? Because that needs to, I feel that needs to be a kind of spark that promotes a kind of introspection on the part of the audiences as well. So how do you, so the question is, how do you turn the audiences to bridge that gap between escapist fantasy and, samvedanshilta? Thanks.
Anyone here? Sailesh?
I think this question is for Nagesh.
Nagesh.
Oh, Nagesh, sorry. Nagesh?
He's mute.
Oh, you are mute. We cannot hear. We cannot hear. Can you, Nagesh, can you unmute? We cannot hear.
आवाज आ रहा है सर मेरा? हेलो
Yes, now okay. Yeah, go ahead.
हेलो ओके ओके। संवेदनशील का अर्थ गौतम सर ऐसा होता है कि अभी के जो नए डायरेक्टर है वो कुछ जो पढ़ रहे हैं, जो कि उनको लगता है कि नए सब्जेक्ट आने चाहिए, और अभी तक के जैसे रंजित पा सर है, जिन्होंने जो सब्जेक्ट लाए वो भी यंग डायरेक्टर है, और ये जो बुजुर्ग जो डायरेक्टर है जिनसे हमें अभी प्रेरणा मिल रही है कि हम कुछ नया कर सके, क्योंकि अभी भी फिल्मों में बॉलीवुड में बोलो कि उधर की फिल्में जो टॉलीवुड की फिल्में लाते हैं रिमिक करते हैं, तो ये रिमिक से भी लोग अभी ये हो गए कि उनको रिमिक नहीं चाहिए, कुछ नया चाहिए, कुछ नए सब्जेक्ट चाहिए। तो ऐसे ये जो संवेदनशील सब्जेक्ट रहते हैं जो कि अभी तक उस सब्जेक्ट को किसी ने हाथ नहीं लगाया, वो सब्जेक्ट अभी तक पढ़े है, वो सब्जेक्ट ऐसे पढ़े हैं कि उनको अभी तक किसी ने छुआ नहीं है। ऐसे संवेदनशील सब्जेक्ट को लेके जो समाज में उसका मूल्य एक अग्रणी होना चाहिए, वो नहीं आता इस समाज में। इसलिए हम जैसे युवा डायरेक्टर के लिए एक बड़ी चुनौती रहती है कि एक ऐसे संवेदनशील सब्जेक्ट को चुनना और उस पर फिल्में बनाना, ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट की काम रहता है। और ऐसे काम करने में आजकल के युवा डायरेक्टर, मुझे तो लगता है कि उनको अभी वो पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि मैंने भी पढ़ाई कर रहा हूँ कि ऐसे कुछ नए सब्जेक्ट लाऊं जिससे समाज का परिवर्तन हो, समाज में कुछ अपने को देना है, उस हिसाब से ऐसे सब्जेक्ट आने चाहिए। जैसे मैंने देहदान का जिक्र इसलिए किया था कि हमारे डॉक्टर यशवंत मनोहर सर है, नागपुर के बड़े साहित्यिक हैं, उन्होंने बोला था कि नागेश इज संवेदनशील एक दिग्दर्शक। एक कार्यक्रम में बोला था कि संवेदनशील, मुझे भी नहीं पता था कि ये संवेदनशील का अर्थ क्या होता। फिर उनसे पूछा संवेदनशील सर क्या होता था, उन्होंने पूछा कि फिर बताया कि संवेदनशील यानी जो सब्जेक्ट को कभी किसी ने हाथ नहीं लगाया पर वो बहुत संवेदनशील है, वो विषय संवेदनशील है, उसको हाथ डालेंगे तो उसपे जो बनेगा कुछ वो बहुत फायदेमंद रहेगा समाज के लिए, जो नए डायरेक्टर हैं उनके लिए, और जो परिवर्तनवादी अम्बेडकरवादी लोग हैं उनके लिए। इसलिए वो संवेदनशील ऐसा वो सब्जेक्ट का नाम है सर। गौतम सर जी।
Yeah, agree with that. To add to that, like the reality is like, the Savarna, writers who write the stories for the movies. How many writers just go to the, the villages, like Indian community, the real community, and take the stories from them, right?
Yes.
Most of the writers just go to Switzerland or Bangkok, and they sit there for the months and they write the stories.
Yes.
So that's the best example.
Yes,
Everybody knows that.
Yes.
If you ask anyone, they know that like where they write the stories, not from the ground, not sitting there. Right?
Yeah,
So thank you very much.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes. Okay.
Any questions?
If I can add to that.
Yeah, sure. Shailesh, please.
Yeah. So I think what Gautam was trying to know from the audience point of view, I think the consistency in making such content can only make the audience sensitive for content or this kind of stories or films. Now they are very less in number. Maybe it has started. Now we can see 6 to 10 films in a year in different languages coming from India that represent or they tell the stories of the Bahujan. So once the numbers start increasing, when people regularly start getting such content, I think that people will start become sensitive for or ready for such content. Because I know when Jayanti came and it ran for only 1 week in few centers and it ran for 12 weeks in other centers. So when the people who missed it in the first week and it was not in the theaters, then they started asking where we can see it. and when they watched in other, some of them got to watch, got the opportunity to watch it in other cities. Then they told us that we were not expecting this kind of content. So because people were not making this kind of content, and now when they have started making, the audience will start slowly become used to it. Oh, they know ki, yeah, this is being made. The other thing is ki when Bahujans they make the films, they have to make sure that the quality of the film should be at par with other films. The films that are being made by other, or I can say the so-called mainstream cinema or the oppressor class, because people pay for watching the film. They will pay for watching their film also. They will pay to watch our film also, and therefore the content, the quality of the content should be, at least we should try. I know ki we are we lack the resources which are on the other side. They are very ample there. We are very lacking in those resources, but still we should try to give to make as much as good as a film we can make, so that the people should not be disappointed after watching it. Even in terms of content also, and in terms of the quality also, they should have confidence when they come to the theater second time. Yes, we will be getting, we will watch a good film. This will only instill some confidence in the audience or the people, and they will become sensitive for such kind of film. At the same time, a lot of discussion should happen about such film. I can say that this is one such initiative. With such discussions in meetings or in media or in social media, if such discussions happen on such films, then obviously people will slowly come to such content. I think I can see this as the ways of making audience sensitive for such content.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Shailesh we are doing now. So
Thank you
at
so
least,
much.
we have to
Thank you so
initiate
much.
it, right? We have to do something like to educate the community, definitely. If you look at, JB movie, right? So nobody knows the story. It happened like, the years back. It was a real story. Nobody knows that even that community exists in India. So whenever the movie, like it was taken by the director and brought it, everybody knows that, like, the community exists there, what is their life, what is their culture, like, everything, right? So that's excellent, the way bringing out the stories from the, the ground. It really happens. It's not like some portrait story. It's not like some, the movies, the stories made up. No, they are really happened like on the real lives, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nagesh. Thank you so much, Shailesh. Both your answers gave me different perspectives, and I haven't watched Jayanti and Nagesh's film yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for that answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam, for asking that question. Any questions? So I have one question here for Shailesh. Shailesh, like, the question is, there are high budget movies made by, the Savarna directors like Bahubali and the other movies, right? Either in regional movies or Bollywood movies. Whenever it comes to all the, the movies made by the Dalit subject and Dalit directors, it's very less budget movies. So yeah, the content, it meets like, very high, but it comes to the visual effects, the quality, so it cannot meet because of the budget. So can you explain a little bit how to deal with that? How can we, our movies can reach to that?
No, I don't have answer to that question, but yes, I can tell my experience. When I was raising funds for Jayanti, and before that also, because I was in the learning process since last 7-8 years. So what I noticed, that the Bahujan society has been conditioned uh, such a way that they are scared of venturing into few fields. And I think this entertainment field and the media field, these two fields, they are a very prominent field among them. Our people, those who have money or those who have businesses, they are scared of venturing into such sectors or such fields. They think, or they have been told that these are not profit making ventures, films and media. We don't have newspapers. We only hear that अरे यार नहीं चलता है अपने आप अपना paper. But the other people, the other print newspapers in print are running. They are making millions and billions of money every year. तो हमारा पेपर क्यों नहीं चलता? हमारे लोग ही नहीं करना चाहते. Yes, of course, there are limitations. There are other problems also. The Bahujan newspaper may not get sufficient ads so that it can meet all the expenses. Same kind of thing happens in the films also. When I was raising fund, the first thing that people say to me, don't make a film. It never get back the money. The second thing, if you are able to raise the fund, and if you want to make a movie, don't make a movie on ideological content because people will not watch it. People want to see a romantic film. People want to see a comedy film, a thriller film, a suspense film, but they will not watch an ideological film. So there is some kind of resistance from our side also. And we tried to break all these misconceptions. Of course, it took time. We got 50 people after meeting 400 people, and they wanted, yes, this story should go to the more and more audience, and they are still standing as a very strong pillar after 3 years also. Now when we are struggling to come on OTT and satellite, they are still there with the film, very strong support. So I think that thing, we cannot make money from this sector is preventing people from putting money in movies, and therefore this is the struggle. But from Jayanti, we have been able to prove that this can be done. Content wise also, the way we have presented the content, the concept, without abusing anyone, we told our story, and we did not face any problem in getting the film censored. It was a very smooth ride in the Central Board of Film Certification. Same thing, I think we'll be not suffering too much losses. I mean, if the film had released at a right time, we could have made good profits also. The way we have got the response from people. But ours was the first Marathi film to release post lockdown. First Marathi film to come after, when the theaters reopened after 1.5 years, and people were still not ready to come to theaters. But we had taken the decision to come because we knew that there will be a lot of films in the later months, and we will not get sufficient time to stay in theaters. So we come first. Still, we have not lost the entire money, and now the people have confidence. They are ready to associate in the second film also. I think this will take time, but there is a need. The people should also take some risk and come in this field. In the initial years, if not to make money, then at least to make our content.
Yeah, definitely. The change starts from one person like you. That's why, you know, like the Paranjit brought it right in the Tamil field. So yeah, like initially, like even Dalit community did not like him. So, but slowly, like they started owning him, right? So his identity and his contest, because they started seeing themselves in his stories, his movies. So now he's one of the the great director in whole India. So even he's beating the Bollywood also. So yeah, so change starts from the one person like you and for Ranjit like that. Definitely, definitely. Any questions, Arunji, please? Un, un, unmute, please. Arunji, unmute. Yeah.
This is for both Nagesh and Shailesh ji. Whether they are aware about a Dalit Bengali boy, Franji Sarkar, who is making world over the waves due to his singing. He's a 12-year boy and he's the winner.
Sir, no, actually, I have not heard about him.
Oh,
Yeah.
you go through that. He's making waves. He's such an excellent boy. He's only 12 years. You can
This
make
is a recent news.
make use of his skills.
Okay. Sure, sure. I will do.
He's the winner.
Okay.
In the last show.
Which show, sir?
Oh, I'm not tax savvy. Otherwise, I can give you the reference of the show.
Okay, okay. I will find it out.
Later on, you can find out.
Sure, sure.
You put his name and you will know about him. He's a Dalit boy, Pranjay Sarkar.
Pranjay Sarkar.
From Maharashtra?
No, he's from Bengal.
Oh, Bengal, okay.
Oh, Bengal is from Maharashtra is that girl Kamle. She was the second runner-up last year.
Yeah, we know that one.
But this boy is no comparison, and world over is making waves. Pranjay Sarkar and only 12 years boy, and he is the winner. And so many filmmakers have already offered him.
That's great. Yeah. Any questions? I think we are approaching close to closing time. Sailesh, do you have any words for us or for our audience? Any
One
request?
question.
Oh, sorry, who is that?
Ravi here. Can I have a question?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Go ahead, Ravi.
Thank you. Just one question for Shailesh ji. What is the action plan for a marketing strategy for the OTT release? Because now it's just a few weeks remaining. Is there anything you have in mind without, I mean, I know we have financial constraint, but any marketing strategy that will, gain traction ahead of the OTT release?
Yes, Ravi ji, we'll be mostly focusing on the social media. There are a lot of people who are very regular on YouTube. Last time when the film was released in Marathi, I had a discussion with Professor Ratan Lal, then Ashok Das from Dalit Dastak, also from National Dastak, and a few other YouTubers who are Bahujan. So this time we'll be mostly focusing on the Hindi belt, Maharashtra plus Hindi belt. Actually, we were planning to dub the film in Tamil and Telugu also, but we could not raise that much funds. So maybe we'll be doing it in the next 6 months. But right now in Hindi, it is coming on in Hindi, and we'll be focusing on Maharashtra and the states above Maharashtra. So we are trying to get in touch with the YouTubers or a few journalists who can speak something about Jayanti. We'll be sharing a private link for those who have not watched it, so that they can watch the film and can write or speak about it during the time when the film comes on OTT. We are also trying to get in touch with a few people in BBC Hindi, Wire, Karma, NDTV. If they can see and do some favor and speak something about the film. So this is the only thing that we have right now in the plan. Let's see. I would love to hear from you people also, if you can suggest few ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like as I know, like OTT is the best platform for our, as right now, the way social media became a platform for our voice in the for the anti-caste movement or Dalit movement, right? So that's what I started watching, our movies in OTT, because that's the best platform for us, definitely. Yeah, we need to find it, like how to get into there, like the Prime, Amazon or Netflix might be the OTT. Yeah, like OTT, I know that like it's mostly for the Indian context, but if you concentrate more on Netflix, the Amazon, it goes globally, right? So global audience are more there. So I think you can, I don't know the process how to do that, like you can concentrate on that, I think is my advice. All right, so we are going to close the session. I would like to request Prashant Aknuri is one of the co-founder and board member for Sadan. Prashant, please.
Yeah, I would just like to just give a thank you note to everyone, especially the speakers. Yeah, we don't have Chinaya and Harshit, they have left, but they have given a really good perspectives on why like our Dalit stories have to be told more. And I think even Nagesh and Shailesh sir have given perspectives on like how this is the best time for the more Dalit movies to come, right? So, and we also know that we have Paranjit and Nagaraj and even Neeraj. This is the best time for the Dalit movies to come in every film industry throughout the entire India, not just only in the mainstream, but even like Marathi and regional industries as well. So I appreciate everyone for sharing their perspectives and their knowledge. I think even the audience got many questions answered and different perspectives also, right? That's very interesting to learn how like caste plays in Indian films. So thanks everyone. I hope everyone had a good time with this session. Thank you.
Thank you. JB, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll keep fighting and we'll keep meeting.
Thank you, everyone. JB,
and
thanks for joining.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Jai Bhim to all.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you, sir.